Hello guys, welcome to another video here with Mr. Donis. I already feel like a celebrity here, a YouTuber. So I know you guys are gonna be asking for autographs when I come back to school. Alright, anyways, so let's go back to this lesson here. We're gonna be doing factorial notation again. Just want to talk a little bit more about it. I talked about it yesterday, but I feel like it probably didn't explain about it too much. So we're gonna talk about it a little bit more today, and then you guys are gonna have some homework on your book, page 542, problems 2 to 20 even only. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, yesterday we already learned how to do this one here. We know that 4 factorial is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Okay, and when I multiplied all that out, 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24. Okay, so that one is easy. You could also, there is a button on the calculator, usually looks like this, that you can use to figure out a factorial as well. Let me plug it in. Let me just show you really quick here. You usually press 4 and then you press this button here, factorial. You click on that and then it gives you that. Factorial 4 is equal to 24. All right, let's talk about number 2 here. Whenever you have division, you want to simplify it as much as possible. I see this 3 factorial here. So 5 factorial is simple. It's going to be 5 times 4. And I'm going to write 3 as 3 factorial. Here's why I'm going to do that. So that this and this will cancel. Okay? And then that makes the problem a lot easier. 5 times 4 is just 20. 2 factorial is 2 times 1, so it's just going to be 2. And we're going to get 20 there. I'm sorry, we're going to get 10. I don't know why I said 20. Let's move on. That's very simple. This is the problem that I wanted to concentrate on. These ones are pretty easy as well. But as you can see, the numbers, they decrease when you're doing factorial. Okay? Well, it's going to happen, the same thing is going to happen here. We're going to have n plus 1. It's going to be the starting number. My next number is going to be a number less than n plus 1. That should be n. Well, guess what? This n factorial is going to cancel with this n factorial. So my final answer to this is going to be n plus 1. Okay, so that wasn't too complicated. So let's rewrite it again. If I want to write n factorial, I could write it like this. N times the number before n. This is how I write it. N minus 1. Then we keep going. N minus 2. I don't know how big n is, but if it's pretty big, we keep going. And then eventually we can write it like this. N minus 4 factorial. Okay? And we can keep going to infinity if we wanted to. But usually when you have n like that, then that's how you write it. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue. Let's go ahead and do this one here. Let's simplify this. Remember, the top, we can simplify it as, we can start as n, and then n minus 1, and then n minus 2 factorial. And then we have n minus 2 factorial on the bottom. And then we're able to cancel this and this right here. And we are left with n times n minus 1. If you wanted to, you could distribute, you'll get n squared minus n as your final answer. Alright, so go ahead and try to do number 5. Pause the video and see if you can do it. Alright, so hopefully you paused the video for 5 there. Probably you didn't. And yours. Alright, but I'm just gonna assume that you did. Alright, so we got n plus 1 times n, that's the number less, and then we got n minus 1 factorial. I want to stop there because I can see that I have an n minus 1 factorial on the bottom, and then we do have a 2 factorial there, which is, well, 2 factorial is just 2, so I'm just gonna write it as a 2. And then this and this guy is gonna cancel. We're gonna end up with n times n plus 1 over 2. And we could leave our answer like that, or we can write it like this. Alright, so that's 4 and 5 right there. There are some problems like that on the homework. That's why I wanted to give those a try. Alright, so let's talk about this one here. This is where it gets a little more complicated. Oh, actually, let's not do that yet. Let's talk about the formula that we had yesterday. I'm going to give you guys some time to write that down again. Here's the actual formula. I wrote it down for you. It's very scary when you first look at it, but it's actually very simple to use. You could also find this formula on page 541 of your book. And it's called the binomial theorem. Yesterday we talked about how we can use it. We're going to use it again today. So it says, find and simplify the 7th term in the expansion. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to find the 7th term in the expansion. But let's talk about the formula. Remember, the formula is k plus 1 term of a plus b to the n is, and I'm going to write it on the bottom here, n factorial over n minus k then k factorial, then n minus k, and then b to the k. Now, when you look at this formula, when you first see it, it looks like a very crazy formula. It's actually not too bad. Okay? The first thing you want to determine is, what is the n and what is the k? You only have to determine that for 2 of them. Well, the n is this right here. So in this problem, the n is right there. So the n in this case is 10. Let's talk about the k. It says the k plus 1 term. So we're looking for the 7th term. So this right here should add up to 7. So 6 plus 1 is 7. So that means that k is equal to 6. K is always a number. It's always the number before the actual term. Let's move on. We're going to replace that n factorial with all the 10s. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. I'm just gonna use my eraser here. So the n, I'm gonna replace it with a 10. The n here, I'm gonna replace it with the 10. This n right here, also going to replace it with a 10. And then that's it with the n's. We have our k's here. I'm gonna replace that k with a 6. Also this k, I'm going to replace it with a 6. So we'll this and this one here. All right, let's simplify that. We have 10 factorial over 10 minus 6, guys, that's 4 factorial, and then we have 6 factorial. We have 10 minus 6 there, that's going to be 4 b to the 6. All right, so I want to simplify that as much as possible. I know that I have a 10 factorial here and I have a 6 factorial there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write that 10 factorial as 10 times 9 times 8 times 7, and I'm going to stop at 6 factorial. Because I know that I could cancel this guy right here. Okay? Guys, you could also use your calculator. It's okay to do that. You could also put 10 factorial. It's just a little bit more complicated. All right, so let's go ahead and keep going. So we got 10 times 9 times 8 times 7. That's 5,040. 4 factorial is actually 24. So we get 210. A to the 4th, b to the 6th. Now we're not done here because we use, what we did was we solved for a and for b. Well, in this case, a is 2x and b is negative y. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to replace that a and that b with 2x and then negative y. So let's do that. So that a is going to get replaced with 2x to the 4th. And that b is going to be replaced with a 6. I'm sorry, with a negative y. Let's simplify that. 2 to the 4, that's going to be 16. And then 16 times 210, that's going to be 3,360. Then negative 1 to the 6th power, since it's even, it's going to stay as a positive. And that, guys, is the 7th term in the expansion there. All right, looks good, guys. All right, so you're going to have some questions like that on the homework. You also are going to have some questions like this, where it says, write the first 4 terms of the, whatever that is right there. What you could do with those problems, you could use Pascal's triangle, or you can use our formula that we have. Okay, so my first set of problems is going to look like this. Remember, we start with a to the 19. And then we have a to the 18, and then b to the 1st. Then we have a, I don't know why I put, to the 17, and then a to the 16. Well, guys, those numbers, what you're getting here is you already know, the formula is this. N factorial n minus k, and then k factorial a n minus k, and then b to the k. Okay? So k in this case is 0. The n is going to be 19. So we're going to have 19 factorial over 19 minus 0 over 0 factorial. This makes sense because 19 factorial divided by 19 factorial is 1. And that's what you want. The first term is always a 1. So that makes sense. All right, the other one. 18 and 1. K is 1 now. K is 1. That means that the n is always 19 actually. So we're going to have 19 factorial. Okay. And then we're going to have n minus k, which is 18 factorial. Okay. Times 1 factorial. Guys, the next number is going to always be 19. Because all those they cancel all out. So the first two numbers are easy to find. They're easy to find. It's always 1 and 19. Okay, this is this right here. It's the same number. It's always going to be the same. If you look at Pascal's triangle, you will see that you always get almost the same number. All right, now the next ones are the ones that are more challenging. We have 19 factorial over, and this is going to be decreasing now, 17 factorial. And then this is going to go up 2 factorial. Okay? So we could do that on the calculator. I know that the 17 factorial is eventually going to cancel. I'm going to multiply 19 times 18. Divided by 2. That's 171. So I got this number. I multiply 19 times 18 divided by 2. Remember, the 17 factorial, they cancel. So we don't have to put that in the equation. Let's move on. This one here, it's going to look like this, 19 factorial. Instead of 7, notice that the numbers are decreasing. So it's 19, 18, 17, and 16 factorial. This one is going to increase. So it's going to go to 3 factorial. Remember, it's 0, 1, 2, and then 3 now. Let's do that on my calculator. So it's 19. This is how I'm going to write it. 19 times 18 times 17. The 16 is going to cancel out. 3 factorial, that's 3 times 2, that's 6. So I have 19 times 18 times 17 is 5,814 divided by 6. I should have written this right here. This is going to be 969, a to the 16, b to the third. All right, awesome. So those are my first 8 terms. Okay, most of the homework is going to ask you to find this right here. Now, we do have to replace that a and that b with the actual numbers. So for a, I'm going to replace it with x. So this is going to become x to the 19. And then this is going to become x to the 18. The b is going to become negative 2y. The x is going to become x to the 17. We're going to have negative 2y to the second. The a is going to become x to the 16. And the b is going to become negative 2y to the third. My final answer is going to be x to the 19. 19 times negative 2 is going to be negative 38. X to the 18. 2y, or just y, actually. Negative 2 to the fourth is going to, negative 2 to the second is going to be 4. So we're going to multiply 4 times 171. And that's going to give me 684. X to the 17, y to the second. And then finally, negative 2 to the third is going to give me negative 8. And 8 times 969 is negative 7,752. X to the 16, y to the third. Make sure you verify those numbers yourself with your calculator. Maybe I made a mistake. Alright, so that's all we're gonna go through for today. Make sure you guys finish our homework, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Well, actually, this is our last video for this section. We will have a quiz tomorrow. Alright, so I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.